History remembers many kinds of heroes. Heroes who wielded swords, heroes who ruled kingdoms, heroes who changed the courage of nations. But according to Thomas Carlyle, one of the greatest heroes in history was neither a king nor a conqueror. He was a prophet, a man born in the desert of Arabia, a man who possessed no army, no throne, no wealth. Yet within a single century after his death, his message stretched from Spain to India. His name was Muhammad. In 1840, the Scottish philosopher Thomas Carlyle delivered a remarkable lecture titled "The Hero as Prophet, Mahomet, Islam." At a time when Europe often portrayed Islam unfairly, Carlyle offered a very different perspective. He argued that Muhammad ﷺ was not an impostor, not a deceiver, but one of history's most sincere and influential men. This is the story of Carlyle's prophet hero. The hero as Prophet Muhammad and the rise of Islam. To understand Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family, Carlyle says we must first understand Arabia. The Arabia of the 6th century was a land of tribes, a harsh desert world where survival demanded courage and loyalty. The Arabs possessed eloquence, poetry, and fierce independence. But they were divided by tribal rivalries and endless conflicts. Religion was fragmented. Hundreds of idols surrounded the Kaaba in Mecca. Amid this environment appeared a man who would transform not only Arabia but world history. Muhammad ibn Abdullah was not born into power. He was an orphan. He worked as shepherd. Later he became a merchant. Long before prophethood, he earned the title Al-Amin, the trustworthy. Carlyle emphasizes this point repeatedly. For him, the character of Muhammad, peace be upon him and on his family, is the strongest answer to accusation of deception. How could a man known throughout his life for honesty suddenly become a fraud? Carlyle rejects this idea completely. He writes that no great religion could be built upon deliberate falsehood. A false man could not create a true civilization. Muhammad, peace be upon him and on his family, often withdrew from society. He sought solitude. He reflected on the state of humanity. Then, according to Islamic tradition, came the moment that changed history. He reflected on the state of humanity. Then, according to Islamic tradition, came the moment that changed the history. In the cave of Hira, he received the first revelation. Read in the name of your Lord. The experience shook him profoundly. He did not seek fame. He did not seek power. Instead, he feared the responsibility that had been placed upon him. For Carlyle, this reaction is evidence of sincerity. A fraud invents a mission. A sincere man is overwhelmed by it. At the heart of Muhammad's message was a simple declaration. There is only one God, no idols, no intermediaries, no tribal gods, one creator, one humanity, one moral law. Carlyle believed that this message brought unity to fragmented people. Islam challenged arrogance. It challenged injustice. It demanded accountability before God. The Prophet's call was not merely theological. It was social, moral, and civilizational. What made Muhammad, peace be upon him and on his family, a hero in Carlyle's eyes? Not military victories, not political success, not worldly achievements. His heroism lay in sincerity. Carlyle repeatedly insists that Muhammad believed completely in his mission. He was not manipulating, he was convinced of the truth he proclaimed, and that conviction inspired millions. According to Carlyle, the word this man spoke has been the long guidance now of 180 million men. Today that the number exceeds 2 billion, yet Carlyle's point remains unchanged. Few individuals have shaped human history so profoundly. One of the most striking aspects of Carlyle's lecture in his criticism of European prejudice. He argued that the many Western writers discussed Islam without understanding it. Legend and myth replaced facts, hostility replaced scholarship. Carlyle called for a fairer assessment, whether one accepts Islam as a divine revelation or not. He argued that intellectual honesty demands respect for historical truth. The rise of Islam cannot be explained by deception. Its achievement requires a deeper explanation. Within decades of Muhammad's death, a remarkable civilization emerged. Cities flourished, knowledge expanded, trade connected continents. Scientists, philosophers, physicians, and mathematicians built upon the foundation of earlier civilizations. For Carlyle, this transformation was evidence of the extraordinary force released by the Prophet's message. Ideas shape people, people shape civilizations, and civilizations shape history. Thomas Carlyle's lecture was more than a defense of Muhammad. It was a challenge to judge historical figure fairly, a challenge to recognize greatness wherever it appears. For Carlyle, the Prophet Muhammad was one of history's supreme examples of heroic sincerity. A man whose faith transformed nations, a man whose words continue to guide billions. Whether viewed through the lens of religion, history, or philosophy, his influence remains undeniable. And perhaps this is Carlyle's enduring message. Great men are not remembered merely because they possessed power. They are remembered because they awakened something powerful in humanity itself.